Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Friday Night Live, episode 30, coming to you from Limerick in the deep southwest of Ireland, once again, with yours truly, Dave Morrissey. Welcome, everybody, to the show. That's going to be a good one tonight. Tonight, we're going to be kicking off. We're going to be going straight over stateside first for a change. We usually leave that till the end, but tonight we're going straight over to Maine in the United States to talk to Big Red Buffalo, which is Big Red and John Buffalo, the two dudes who have gotten together this two-piece band, which have got lots and lots of things going on, lots of promise happening. We're going to talk about all that really soon. Then we're going to speak to Anna O'Connor, who you might have seen last week on RTE, Last Singer Standing. She did a super version of Shania Twain's Feel Like a Woman. She delivered a really good version of that last week. She's coming on around 10:45. And then we're going to finish up with our usual segment of Poetry Corner with a guest from Belfast, Elizabeth McGeown, I think is right. She'll correct me later on if I'm wrong. And she is a poetry spoken word slam champion. And there's a lot to be learned about that. So I'm looking forward to that. And her career is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger all the time as well. But without further ado, I want to kick off the show with some music, because this is a song that I played ages ago for a guest of mine, Davy Kerrigan, who was on the show a long time ago, and he played this live, and this song is called Borderline, and it is just impeccable. You gotta hear this guy in action, and I'm gonna try and get up north and see him live sometime soon. So let's kick off Friday Night Live. If you see the PayPal link on the bottom of the screen, you know what to do if you want to donate to the show. It's entirely up to you. Every little helps. Also, a couple of announcements later on about Christmas and the festive season. We're going to be doing some special shows coming up there as well. I've got to give a shout out to, before I get into the music, to Alyth McCormack, Noel Eccles and Neve O'Brien, who did the concert from the Cottage a couple of weeks ago. We had her on the show, Alyth. They've got a special gig coming up in the Irish Institute of Music and Song on Church Street in Balbriggan in Dublin, and its tickets are €30. You can get them in the Irish Institute of Music and Song.com, and there's a free cocktail with every ticket, so it's pretty cool. So check that out. 26th of November at 8 p.m. Let's go for it. Davy Kerrigan. Slaves to the modern world, their families left behind. The years have come and gone, but the message carries on. You are remembered long after you're gone. The future isn't written and the pen is in your hand. Strive to make a difference and achieve the master plan. Yeah. Is this the way the world has turned for the sake of power and greed? Or one man can judge another by religion, race, or creed? Hatred plays a primary role, blueprints from the past. Been this way forever, how long's it gonna last? Till we cross the borderline. A man cannot be judged by the color of his skin. Compassion comes from deep within. You can run, but you cannot hide. Lesser of two evils is what learns inside, yeah. Is this the way the world is turned for the sake of power and greed? One man can judge another by religion, race, or creed. Hatred plays a primary role, blueprints from the past. Been this way forever, how long's it gonna last? Till we cross the borderline.
Is this the way the world has turned for the sake of power and greed? One man can judge another by religion, race, or creed. Hatred plays a primary role, blueprints from the past. It's been this way forever, how long's it gonna last? Till they cross the borderline. Yeah. Cross the borderline.
Yeah, Davy Kerrigan, all the way from County Tyrone in Ireland. What a super, super, super musician. Guys, check him out. Check him out. He's back gigging, he's back live, and he is just something else. I can tell you that. He is unbelievable. Super, super. So yeah, let's get straight into it. My first guest, and as they're all saying out there, bring on the big red buffalo. So maybe that's what we should do. Yeah, let's just do it. So we're going to go straight over to Maine, United States. Boys, how are you getting on?
Very good. How are you, sir?
I'm good. So we got Big Red. Okay, we got Big Red, Dylan, and John Buffalo. So it's pretty cool, and it's obvious how you came up with a cool name like Big Red Buffalo. And Brew is listening from Dublin, and he says, bring it on. This Big Red
Bringing
Buffalo.
it on.
So it's good that you have some friends here in Ireland. Welcome to Friday Night Live. You two guys met in 2020 at an open mic. So how did that work? So you were both in different acts. Was it you were kind of doing different things on the night, or
what was going on is a friend of his was hosting an open mic who I also knew, and I was actually playing with him. And his friend played a big stand-up bass, and I would bring my bongos, and we were doing some groovy stuff like that. And he showed up a couple times, and I said, "Oh, wow, guy's got a pretty good voice." And I approached him, and we talked about playing together, and kind of bounced back and forth text messages. And then when the lockdown happened, he was like, "Hey, dude, you still serious about getting something together?" And I said, "Absolutely."
Brilliant. No messing there. No messing with Dylan. Straight in. And you obviously spotted the talent there, Dylan. Did you? You spotted some talent.
More like he did. I was just trying to show up to learn a thing or two. He's been playing music a lot longer than I have. And
okay.
It was I was showing up. It was when I first discovered how much I love performing music and how much it is just life changing for me. And I think, he kind of spotted that, and,
I did.
He threw that out to me. And since then, especially looking back, where it's extremely hard to keep like a group together and to share the dedication and, to move forward with that.
Yeah.
And, it was just when he asked me to start playing with him, I was one of those guys, I had the girlfriend that was like, "No, I don't want you to play with him." So
I know that story. Yes.
Yeah. So I was coming up with a couple of excuses, but every time, like when I did, it just killed me inside.
Yeah. No. You get that feeling.
Yeah. And then I sent him the text and then, "Hey man, like, you still around? You still want to play?" And like, thank God he did. He had learned, the first, what was it, like
4?
Yeah. And at the time, I'm such a newbie at this. I had only, I've been playing guitar we've been together almost 2 years. I've been playing guitar seriously, like when I picked it up for like the serious emotional reasons that you do this. It's only been about 2.5, 3 years.
So you're only playing guitar 3 years.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
At the time, we're like, hey, we came up with that list of like 4 songs. Yeah.
Now we got a list of like 40 and 12, 15 originals, but we're gonna start recording our first probably 5 or 6.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Well, that's what I want to get into soon. I want to talk about that. But when you met, just going back to that, and you met at the open mic, and then of course the timing, unfortunately, we had this pandemic that kicked in, everything locked down, and the same here in Ireland, same everywhere globally. We were all screwed as musicians. We had nowhere to go, nothing to do, a lot of time in our hands. But you two used that time very, very cleverly. You obviously got together and started jamming and coming up with ideas during the lockdown. Tell me a little bit about what did you get up to when you had all this time?
That was actually the conversation we had. We said, you know what? This whole lockdown thing is terrible. It's awful. But let's use it to our advantage.
Yeah.
We both just had that discussion. We say, let's just take this time. We can't play any gigs out. Nobody's having any live music. So let's just work on not just covers, because that's what a lot of the bars and pubs want you to play.
Yeah.
But also he was writing stuff, I was writing stuff, and we were collaborating very good together. And we said, let's use this time to learn how to harmonize better. A lot of people wouldn't think about it, but him being from Wyoming and having his accent, and me being from New York and having my accent, harmonizing took a little.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Getting used to. But we spent the time, and sometimes even during practice, a lot of bands do this. They say, hey, let's just work on the harmonies, and then we'll go through the song again, and you get better and better as the time goes on. But it takes a little dedication, and that's what we use the time for.
Oh, yeah. We're always getting better too. You know, we practice consistently, religiously every week. You know. And
I don't care what anybody says, lads. I'll tell you, and I've been in many bands down through the years myself, and it's all about rehearsal. I don't care what anybody says. It's what makes a decent band and then a really good band. You can spot the difference. We used to do harmony rehearsals even backstage before we go on. We just find a little area and we'd all just stand around and sing the song with no music, a cappella. And if you could do it that way, then you can't go wrong when you go on stage. It's so important. And it's
nothing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a massive addition, though, isn't it, to any live performance to be able to harmonize and do that well. Mm-hmm. You being from Buffalo, John, okay? Now, I have to touch on this because we spoke about this during the sound check. I'm a huge fan of the Goo Goo Dolls, okay? Massive. And I've followed most of their career. I know they were a punk band in the early days, but the Goo Goo Dolls is a band. But being from Buffalo, I had the pleasure of jumping off a bus one time when I was touring in the States, and I went around and looked for a couple of houses where they lived and stuff. There was nobody there, long story short, so it was a bit of a bummer, but it was fun. You would have known the guys, wouldn't you, when you were knocking around in Buffalo?
Yeah, actually, they were a very popular punk band, like you said, and that would have been in the late 80s. They used to be a lot of places like the Continental down on Franklin Street and the what they would call the Chippewa District in Buffalo. But it was kind of neat back then because Robbie, the bass player, actually was the singer of the band, and Johnny Resnick, Johnny Goo back then, guitar player. And then when they went through the transformation to become an alternative rock band, they kind of switched it around where Johnny Resnick became the lead singer. But when we used to follow them, we were in high school. We used to, the Goo Goo Dolls start playing. We would get a big group of people. We get a ride down there and have a lot of fun. And it was a big place, so there was a lot of room. They would have a little mosh pit, and
brilliant,
So to see them make that transition from like a punk band to an alternative rock band, and now they have like multiple hits.
They're amazing. Category. Yeah. Would you say you're influenced in any way, shape, or form by their music?
Yeah, I like them a lot, actually. In fact, I used to practice along on drums with them. I played at a lot of the same places. When I was younger, I actually did play drums in a couple of punk bands. None of them ever became as popular as the Goo Goo Dolls, by the way.
Look, it's all ahead of you, man. It's all ahead of you. Let's never say never, you know. And of course, for yourself, Dylan, like coming from Wyoming, a total different background. What was it like for you in the early days? Just watching music, going to gigs. Where would you go? What would be happening around town?
I grew up in a small town. The population is about 5,000 people.
Okay.
Wyoming, we call it the Cowboy State. And when I was growing up, I was never really into country. So I got in, I remember when I was little, I'd be listening to the Metallica's Black Album, and I'd be rewriting my lyrics over, several of their songs, and just sitting in my room. Alice in Chains, the unnamed album with the three-legged dog. That was my first tape, and then I remember sitting on my little Crayola desk and asking my dad to replay an Offspring album, the song Self-Esteem. I would have him sit there and replay that when I'm sitting on my little Crayola desk, just coloring,
Good. It's great. Like, considering you said the Cowboy State, but you were listening to that stuff. So that was cool.
Not until I got into, high school and I was in the military too. And I was exposed to, like all my buddies all listened to country. I don't think any of them were into metal and whatnot that I was with.
Yeah. Do you think you were in the military as well? So does it kind of go hand in hand? The genre of country is very popular amongst personnel, is it? Is it as popular?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's every style you come across. But
Yeah.
I did a lot of time in the Army National Guard out in Wyoming.
Okay.
And everybody out in Wyoming it's called the Cowboy State, and everyone out there is super friendly. It's the type of place that if you get into trouble, like somebody's going to be stopping along the side of the road, 2-3 people.
Yeah.
And everybody waves wherever you go. But then at the same time, we just have a tough as nails mentality. Everyone out there is just tough as nails. We all work hard. I'm proud to be from that state for sure.
That's very like Limerick. Well done. Yes, congratulations. That's very like Limerick, by the way. Not too dissimilar. Same salt of the earth. The people here, and absolutely would not walk past you if you were in bother. You'd be helped out. Speaking of which, so we're getting into where you guys are now putting together a body of original music, because you've been doing the gigs, you've been doing the covers and the originals mixed together. Mm-hmm. But what's the plan with the body of originals? What's going to happen?
Basically, you got to do what you think is pure and good. And then when you play it out, you have to see how people are going to respond to that. I've been in a lot of bands where we've done originals, and I've been with very talented musicians in Buffalo. And we've written things that we thought were very good. And you play it out sometimes, and people are like, yeah, it was,
what's the saying?
It was okay.
Like a lead balloon.
It's a tough sell.
It is.
And you've probably been in enough bands where you have composed original music and you thought, wow, this is really great, but it didn't work out. But what I have to say is some of the songs, and he said we were playing about 6 of our originals out live, they've actually have really gone over well. And good. I've always been kind of hey, I've done this before, it doesn't always work out the way you want it to. And seeing the crowd response at quite a few of our gigs to some of the originals, I was actually really surprised. So I'm excited once we get a good recording out of how people might respond to that.
I always thought myself, down through the years in my experience of playing live, that the best way to test an original or originals is on the road. Would you agree? Like 2 live audiences before you even record it. Just play it out raw. And just play it out raw, even if it's just the bones of what you've rehearsed. You can always dress that up in the studio. But if you get a reaction in a couple of different venues, you're kind of onto something, really, aren't you? You're on a winner.
This last Saturday, we had a really good gig, and everyone responded well to all 6 originals. Good. I'll tell you, like I rode that high from that gig for like 2 days. It felt
some people were starting to sing along in the middle of the song, and I'm watching them. I'm like, I know you never heard the song before, so it was like, I don't know.
There's nothing like that feeling, lads, of somebody singing back your lyrics, even if they're getting them wrong. It doesn't matter once they got the melody.
Some of them are wrong.
You know what's really bad is when we're singing an original and I forget a line. I forget my lyrics. But I'll take it. I'll take anything if they're just humming back some kind of a melody. And every time you go back to that venue, if they take the time to even learn the words and keep asking you about the stuff, then you're obviously doing something right. Your stuff is going the right direction. At the minute, what we're looking at is acoustic guitar, yourself, Dylan, and then you're on the cajon, I know, at the minute, John, but like percussion generally. So it's percussion and acoustic. When we hear the originals and when this body of work is going to happen, are we going to expand band-wise? Is it going to be more musicians on it? And
so, we were talking about that earlier with you. Yeah. When we record our originals, I'm going to play a full set. I've been playing drums since I was 7. I play a full set very well. And we're going to have other bass players and guitar players. And we were talking about using the Pro Tools and the whole cloud function where you can send it to another city.
Yes.
To another studio.
Yeah.
And have people that put down tracks, send it back to you, and then you mix it down. So when we record our originals, I think there's maybe 2 of them we actually kind of wanted to do with just the cajon. Because the feel was right.
Or mix it and do a little bit of both.
Yeah. So we're gonna dabble a little bit with both.
Yeah, some songs don't need the band and they don't need the full arrangement. I found that when I was in the studio up and down a lot, we would find that you would throw all the bells and whistles at something and then you'd end up taking it all back out. And I'd be like, we just wasted like 12 hours putting all those stuff, trumpets and crap in there that you didn't need. Do you know what I mean? The song can be just wonderful on its own. Dylan, sometimes as well, and I'm sure you've probably realized that even you and the vocal can be just wonderful, with just a really light percussive thing there as well. Some songs just stand out that way. When the body of work because I don't know how much of a scoop you guys are going to give me on this tonight. So, but when the body of work is happening, where are you going to send the music, and who's going to be involved, or have you worked that out yet? Other musicians.
I mean, aside from the musicians in Buffalo.
Yeah. So what our plan is the first 3 songs we're going to collaborate with musicians in Buffalo. Like I said, with the cloud and the Pro Tools.
Yeah.
And that's why we called my very small, humble studio Buffalo Connection Studio, because we're going to be connecting with people from Buffalo. Cool. And then we have plans for at least 1 or 2 songs to collaborate with some people in Ireland, and then we'll collaborate with other people.
Hold up there. Just whoa.
I knew you were going
to. Stall the ball, as we say here. Stall the ball, my friend. Just go back a sentence and a half there. You mentioned something about collaborating with musicians in Ireland. And by the way, Bruce says here he wants the bootlegs. He wants this.
I told Bruce several times, just come to Maine and play with us all the time.
Yeah, cool. Well, listen, tell me just a little bit. I don't want to press you too much on that, but are you going to be sending some of those files over here to the Emerald Isle?
Absolutely. You'll be one of the first people to get it.
Yes, but also your musicians. Will we have Irish musicians playing on this? Possibly.
At some point, hopefully.
Well, that's the plan. We got 1 or 2 songs that we wrote that have an Irish influence. And the first thing I said is I would like some actual Irish people playing music on this.
I think that'd be cool. That would be awesome. Yeah, that'd be brilliant. A lot of my friends here are sending their stuff over stateside and to London and different various locations. And that's what's happening, remote recording. It's hugely popular. You've been to Ireland, John, a couple of times, haven't you? And you've kind of enjoyed it, haven't you? 3. Tell me, where did you arrive? Did you get past Dublin? That's because we always ask that question down here in Limerick, outside of Dublin. We call it the Pale. Did you get outside the Pale when you came here?
So the first time I came down, no. And that's only because my friend lived there. He knew a lot of people, and we just went out and had a lot of fun. I made it out to Malahide on one of those bus trips to see the castle. But for the most part, we hung out there, and I had a blast. And it's when you say that, people said the same thing when I went back home. They said, "Where else did you go?" And I said, I stayed in Dublin, and I had a blast. I knew somebody who lived there, and he showed me around. But the second time I went there, I went to other places like Belfast and Kilkenny. And, when I come back there, I'm going to go to more places. Yes.
Like Limerick, maybe.
And definitely, we're coming. We might come down next year. It's in the plans.
Yes.
We will go down to Limerick. Okay.
If you come over next year, do come down to Limerick. There's great venues here, brilliant venues for acoustic acts as well. Even if you arrive over as a 2-piece, there's loads of venues here, and we can put you in touch with loads of people and get you a couple of gigs. All that stuff, easy peasy. It'd be really cool. But when are we talking about? Say, is this an album? Is this going to be an album, an EP, or what size of body of work is it going to be?
So I think nowadays people are not really like putting out CDs.
No, not really.
So I think we're probably going to release like 3 songs here, 3 songs here, maybe 2 songs here, another 3 here. We've been writing a lot of stuff. So as you very well know, recording is very time consuming.
Yes.
When you're involving other musicians and then doing the mix downs and getting the final, equalization, all that stuff.
Yeah. So keep it online really is the best way, isn't it? Like get it onto Spotify, which unfortunately I'm not a big fan of, but you have to do it. And Apple Music and all the usual. Is that the plan, kind of electronic releases?
Yeah, it'd be Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music. We'll have stuff. We'll post links to it all on Facebook. There's probably
brilliant.
Yeah, whatever we can do, whatever's out there for musicians,
Yeah. Brilliant. So look out, Big Red Buffalo. Possibly, I'm kind of guessing maybe January, February. We should be seeing something kind of filtering out, which will be cool. We'll stick it up, of course, on the page, on Friday Night Live page, the links to everything when it arrives. I know you're going to do an original for me as well, which I'm quite looking forward to. Because it's a fresh enough song, isn't it? It's pretty fresh for both of you. It's called Best Bad Idea. So just tell me a bit about the song before we go to doing the song.
So during the lockdown, which was just brutal for so many people, I wrote it. Just it's about having a good time, even though we are forced into these situations we don't want to be in. So it's written about dating during the lockdown and during having to go out everywhere, wearing a mask everywhere. You're limited in every capacity, especially for music. I mean, we made the best out of it, but a lot of people didn't have they weren't as lucky as we were, like we were able to really create some really fun stuff. And that's the whole reason we do this, is to have fun and to connect to people, so that's what this song is about. It's about the reason why we do this,
cool. And how does your girlfriend feel about John being there all the time now?
my girlfriend loves him. I had to ditch the one that didn't.
That's right.
Okay, sorry. We've moved on.
That's the best thing you ever did.
We've moved on. That's good. Okay, so everything is kosher now. That's good.
My girlfriend now is the biggest sweetheart I've ever met in my life. I'm like the luckiest guy.
Super.
And she helps carry equipment to the cars. She's magnificent.
She's a keeper. She's a keeper, man. She's a keeper. Listen, speaking of lockdowns and stuff like that, I always like to just ask, because we're kind of heading back, kind of going south again. We were looking at possibly locking down, mini lockdowns here again. What's it like over there? Is everybody just throwing caution to the wind now, or are you still in a bit of a state of panic?
Strange. I mean, some people are, I think what it is, a lot of people just don't know what to expect. After going through the lockdown and then coming out of the lockdown, and the virus is still here. And even with the vaccine is still here, and even with all the other things that are going on, I think we're just waiting to see what happens. So when we talk to a lot of the bar owners about playing out past a certain point, a lot of them are saying, we're going to wait to see what happens, or if there's going to be another lockdown from the governor. In the United States, it's different because it can differ from state to state.
Okay. On the governor and the laws of the state. So you guys are in Maine. How far reaching are your gigs? How far do you travel at the minute? How far can you go to gig?
We've gone as far as 2 hours up north. We've gone down to New Hampshire, which is Buffalo. And then we made a trip to Buffalo during the summer, where I'm from, and obviously playing on the Buffalo music scene for over 20 years. I have connections there. So Big Red Buffalo did play in Buffalo this summer.
Yeah, cool, brilliant. So you've gotten around. That's good. What are the influences, like in general, Dylan? Like when you're writing, who would you be kind of listening to, like as an influence, as a songwriter, rather than just the music?
That's a good question. When I sit down and write a song, like for example, yesterday I was at a trampoline park with my boys. And I'm sitting there next to a couple other moms, and I'm sitting there tapping my foot, and I'm just, I think I was kind of influenced on that song by like Zach Brown.
Okay.
And, there's a couple. What did I say the other day? That song that influenced me. There's one that is like Ted. It's like a mix between like a Ted Nugent and Zach Brown. But I'm just sitting there tapping on my knee and stomping my foot next to and I'm singing this chorus because my phone had died, and I put everything into my phone. My phone had died. So I'm like, because that moment when you think of a line and you go and you're like, make a piece of toast and you're like, shit, I can't remember what I should.
Yes, I hear you, man. I know exactly.
There for like 20 minutes, just over and over with this chorus.
Yeah. Oh man, I released the Christmas single last year, and I wrote it after walking around the circle, as we call it, the ring here where I live in the countryside, possibly 65 times with my daughter, pushing her in the trolley, in the pram, and the whole way around, tapping as I'm walking. I'm trying to sing the song to the beat. And like yourself, the piece of toast, by the time I get home, I was just melted. I was like, Jesus, I've got to actually just go in and record something here, because I kept changing every day. Every morning I get up and go for the walk, it would be a different melody. So it's difficult, very. When Big Red Buffalo, like the full sound comes out, the body of work we're talking about, and the full sound, would you emulate it to be, I don't mean like anything else, because obviously it's you guys, but like, would you emulate it towards any sort of kind of music that you like yourselves, that you'd like, sometimes we kind of reference when we're in the studio. I certainly do, and many of my friends will pick an album and kind of go, if it was something like that. Is there anything like that you'd have in mind that would describe what we're in for?
We kind of talked about this early on. This is the first country band I've ever played in. And I've always liked a couple country artists. So when me and him started talking about what we were going to do once we start doing originals, I want to have that country sound, but I want it to be modern. I love his Wyoming country voice. But I want to put, when I put my drums on, I like a little bit more funky, a little more John Bonham kind of oomph to it. Kind of, I guess, John Bonham, Chad Smith from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, like hybrid style of playing, but him doing what he's good at up front. And then we'll let the other musicians kind of put their own flavor to it.
When I'm trying to like describe the name, it's almost like a folk rock ish. It's hard to describe. It's like country rock, folk rock. I think it's going to be in that kind of.
Because I'm kind of thinking now, having listened to John there, like it's like I'm kind of thinking funky country. You know what I mean? It's a new genre.
We're both sitting on cajones right now. So.
Nice. Well, listen, John Bonham, absolute legend, my favorite drummer of all time, John. If you're cutting that kind of a groove behind anything that's going on, that's going to be wonderful. Dylan, I've heard you singing and I've watched some stuff, and you've got a really, really distinctive voice and very, very full of depth and richness. And I mean that. No, I mean it. So I'm looking forward to when you like get into the studio and just bring that out and bring it forward. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be even very big. You've got a big voice that'll fill the speakers. No problem.
Thank you. I'm always trying to get better at that. I have a couple vocal coaches that I'm that I'm working with, that I hope to work with for a number of years. It's one of those things that it's like an instrument. You just have to keep working at it.
You got to mind it.
Especially doing cover songs, because as you know, you're like the more cover songs you learn, the more you figure out, okay, like that one doesn't suit me quite well. This one,
What kind of covers do you do live?
Mostly country covers. We have kind of our own spin on it, but we do some rock. I don't know what you'd consider like wave on wave, but we have some stuff that we've kind of just made it our own. You know what I mean? Because I'm more the rhythm guitarist, so I try to come up with whatever funky stuff I can on there and following his his amazing beats. So,
what's your favorite cover to do live?
Ooh, what would you say? We kind of share. Yeah, we kind of share similar favorite.
I really like Country Girl Shake It For Me because the ladies really seem to like that song, and I like watching people dance and have a good time. But
I love doing Wave on Wave by Pat Green.
Yes.
Man, Can't You See has just been one of my favorites.
People seem to connect to those ones.
Yeah. You see the audience participation. That's really the best part, isn't it, about anything live? I can't wait to hear it, lads. I really can't. And I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen this side of the pond as well, because when you send this music over our way, I don't know if you're aware, but there is quite a large interest in country music here. Not just, we've two kinds of country in Ireland, okay? We have Irish country, which is completely different to what you're doing, okay? Irish country is very kind of linear, traditional, sticks to the beat, if you like, kind of a quick step thing. Whereas American country that's crossing over here, and I have a guy actually in the chat room called Eamon Walsh. He's a fabulous country artist as well, an Irishman. And you guys should get in touch with him, actually. He's an interesting guy to talk to. But it's like American country meeting Irish and being done really, really well. So there's a crisscross happening between both sides of the water. So it'll be interesting to see how you guys are received here, which I think will be amazing anyway. But it's a good place for you to be sending your stuff for sure. Yeah. Now, getting on to the performance, because I heard a little in the sound check and I like it. Do you guys want to get into Position, and we'll get ready to hear Best Bad Idea, which I'm looking forward to. The guys here, what I do like is John's cajon, which is up on a stand, because usually I know myself when I play live and I've used cajons, like you were sitting on them there, after a while it can get quite painful and tedious sitting. I love the cajon up on the stand, John. It's really, it's the job. It is the job. So Big Red Buffalo guys coming in from Maine, United States, getting ready to perform right live. Thank you so much, guys, for joining the show. It's been wonderful having you. Absolutely wonderful having you. I wish you all the best with the future recordings and the studio releases. It's going to be amazing to hear.
And thank you for having us, John.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're more than welcome, lads. And listen, when you do come next year, try to factor in Limerick into your trip for the crack. I have a thing on Friday Night Live where I'm insisting on trying to meet as many people in person at some point after all of these shows. So if you do come over, try and factor in Limerick. And somebody, Brew just stuck up there, Dolan's, which is a wonderful venue here in Limerick, Dolan's Warehouse. So if you come to Limerick, we'll get you organised in there. It's a really good place to play. So are you guys ready to go?
We are ready.
Okay, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, this is Big Red Buffalo going to do a live performance of their own original called Best Bad Idea. When you're ready, guys, take it away. Thank you very much.
On the back porch, string of lights lighting up the night. Girl, come over with that bottle of whiskey. She said, no, boy, come over and kiss me, come over and kiss me. 'Cause baby, there ain't no way I could ever stay 6 feet away. I'll take my chances with you day after day. I've got the best bad idea. Play a little face mask striptease. Show me all that beautiful smile you got hiding underneath. I got the best bad idea. Do you want to come home with me? The only Corona to worry about is the one we're gonna drink. Well, I got the best bad idea. Play a little face mask striptease. Show me all that beautiful smile you got hiding underneath. I got the best bad idea. Do you want to come home with me? Corona to worry about, it's the one we're gonna drink. I got the biggest bad idea. Play a little face mask striptease. Show me all that beautiful smile you got hiding underneath. I got the biggest bad idea. Do you wanna come home with me? Don't make Corona to worry about, it's the one we're gonna drink. I got the biggest bad idea. Play a little face mask striptease. All that beautiful smile you got hiding underneath. I've got the best bad idea. Do you want to come home with me? You'll make a run to worry about. It's the one we're gonna drink. Get with it. I got the best bad idea.
Wow, wee boys. Good stuff, good stuff. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well done, lads. Well done.
Thank you.
I can see myself up in the front row, giving that one socks. I really can. I can totally see myself up witchy on the stage, probably with my tie pulled this way and the shirt open, giving it loads. Great song, great song. Listen, thank you so much for joining me. I'm looking forward to hearing everything. The full, say we'll call it album in singles, whatever way it comes. But and when you guys get over here next year, we'll definitely meet up for a few pints of Guinness in Limerick, for sure.
Thank you.
Guys, take care. You can kick back there and crack open a few beers. You're done. You've done a great job tonight. Lots of people in Ireland are going to find out about you now by the time we're finished sharing and everything during the week. So I look forward to all the feedback and everything that goes your way.
Thank you so much, man. God bless.
And
take care, boys.
Drew, the Duke of Beer.
Listen. Enjoy your few beers. And we'll chat to you again soon. Take care, lads. Good luck. So that was Big Red Buffalo from Maine, United States. We don't often open the show with a stateside band, which is great. It's a first and really enjoy that. And I'd say the lads have got a lot of energy. I listened to some of their stuff on YouTube today, and it was really, really, really cool. It's live stuff, but they're going to be bringing out studio recorded stuff, which is going to be even better. And think country funk. Country funk. I think that's cool. I like when you put those two words together. That's you've got me. I want to hear more. So I'm going to go on to a little bit more music just for a second, and then we're going to move over to my next guest, who is Anna O'Connor, based in kind of Portrush, Gary Kennedy, not too far away from me here actually. And Anna was on Last Singer Standing on RTE last week and did a super performance. So I'm going to have a chat with her about that. But first, I want to play a new song by my friends all the way from Poznan in Poland. This is called Only Time by Nata and Evgeny. It's wonderful. It's a new video. I think it's only out a couple of weeks. Enjoy, guys. This is Nata and Evgeny from Poznan in Poland on Friday Night Live.
You give a day of rain, still not too late for the last rain. Day after night will come again. You say goodbye for me. You cross a bridge for unity, and all we need is melody. Only time happened to them all. Only time happened to them all. Phenomenal, only time. Phenomenal, only chance. Phenomenal, only time. Phenomenal, only chance. Sometimes I can't believe I was made a hole in a ticket, and there is no time to the shift. I take my life to live. The button's name is click it. It was engraved on memory. Only time happened to them all. Only time happened to them all. Only chance happened to them all. Only chance happened to them all. Phenomenal, only time. Phenomenal, only chance. Phenomenal, only time. Phenomenal, only chance. Sometimes I can't believe was made a hole in a ticket, and there is no time to the shift. I take my life to live. The button's name is Click It. It was engraved on memory. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na.
That is Nada and Evgeny. And Evgeny from Poznan in Poland, guys. I just love them. Love their music. Everything about them. Wonderful music. And I can tell you that is a song that's going to go places. Like all of their stuff. They've released so many singles over the past year. It's just been phenomenal watching their success, and I like to support them all the time and keep them on the show. And they will be back, I think, on New Year's Eve for the big one, the big show that we have coming up. Anyway, moving on without further ado to from what I can gather, a lovely, comfy, cozy looking hotel somewhere in Dublin. I'd say I could be wrong now, but I'm guessing. And we're going to go have a chat with Anna O'Connor, who you would have seen on RT last week on Last Singer Standing. Anna, welcome to Friday Night Live.
Hi, Dave. Thanks so much for having me. How are you?
I am fantastic. You look like you're having a ball there. You look like you're really living the life there.
Oh, Dave, it looks much more rock and roll than it is. I was asleep a half an hour ago.
I do apologize. I do. Fair play to you. You're dedicated. I'll give you that. You're dedicated. And listen, thanks for your time. I know you're busy, and I know you were flying around the place today and getting yourself from one place to another. I am very familiar with Portroe and Gary Kennedy.
Are you?
And they're two beautiful places. I'm in Castleconnell, which is not too far away from me, in Limerick. Yes. And I love the drive down all around those areas around Lough Derg and all that. It's just fantastic.
There's nothing like it. It's like it's just there's some view between Ballina and Portroe. It's gorgeous.
It's beautiful. Yeah, it is absolutely. And then there's a place they call the Lookout, isn't there? And that view is just wow, phenomenal.
And you know, when you're from there, you never really go there. It's just
you
only when you're from there. It's funny, but
yeah. Well, you've grown up with that all your life, haven't you?
You get used to anything, don't you? But I'm lucky, I think.
Yeah, very, very. And come here, tell me this: you come from a family that is steeped in music, from what I can gather as well.
My mother is a Larkin from Gary Kennedy, so they would have. She was reared down in Larkin's pub in Gary Kennedy, and the story there was like there was 5 of them, and you either worked behind the bar or you played an instrument. It was up to you. So they all played instruments because they wanted to have a few pints and play instruments. So that's how, like, literally, she said none of them were ever taught how to play, but all of all her sisters, and she has a brother as well, they all played music in traditional Irish sessions, from a young age, from their teens all the way up. And then she met my father. He was actually a dub that used to come down to Dublin or to Gary Kennedy on holidays. And he's also a musician. So I think musicians always click, don't they? That's what happens.
They do. Well, obviously he came down to Gary Kennedy and he never went back to Dublin by the sounds of it. And enjoyed it. Yeah. Listen, tell me this, like, you grew up in this, so obviously that's where a lot of your singing and your musicianship is coming from. Did you find, like, growing up there in Larkins, which, by the way, is a fabulous pub and steeped in history, growing up in that as a young girl, like, were you sitting in on the sessions? Were you there at most of them?
Yeah, like, I can remember very well. Do you remember when pubs used to close between 2 and 4?
Yes.
I remember that, because I can remember being down, because it was my granny's house, the pub was. But I remember being down.
All right.
before. And I remember one particular Sunday, Sharon Shannon and all of her band had arrived by boat, but they used to come, like other musicians used to come there for a getaway, not to be paid to play, but they loved, you know yourself,
Yeah,
is
yeah,
there
yeah.
a better session when you're not getting paid? And I remember Sharon Shannon being down there, and the Dubliners used to be down there, all of them. It was brilliant.
My
And I could
God. Wow.
see
Wow.
that you're supposed to be closed, but I remember there was a great
Great.
session. And
What company to be in, like, you know?
yeah, it was great from a young age. Always been involved in music sessions, and yeah.
So obviously then your teenage years, growing up, you're starting to go, right, I'm getting out. I need to get out and do something myself. How did you get into like vocals as being your main? That is your main instrument.
Like
You performed a lot as a singer. I mean, you've done a lot of live performances. At what point did it click with you? Right, this is what I'm going to do. This is where I fit in.
honestly, I don't ever remember a click. It was literally me. You know, I don't like. I was gigging. I was gigging from 15, 16 years of age. I was gigging. I had a little band with my sister called Something Else. Remember we used to play on. Do you remember it sounds so old, but like the park, you know, the Parkway Shopping Centre, there was a pub there beside it, the Park Bar.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
One night when I was 16, I remember getting up for school on the Tuesday morning. I'm like, I don't know. It was just the way it was back then. Like we were all out gigging.
Yeah. I remember doing that myself as a drummer. I remember actually changing the uniform, taking it off and throwing it into the locker and putting on the blazer or whatever band you were playing with. You'd have to put on this blazer or whatever and out and straight meet the lads in the band.
Wasn't just me.
Out the front of the school and off you went to play in the pub, like, and that was 16.
Yeah. But
so
you grew up a lot quicker. You were able to deal with, you know, to talk to people. I think it was great training really for life. You know, you were able to
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But leading you on into, because I know you did a lot of gigs with Sound Affair.
Yeah.
Is that band still going? Is that still?
So no, at the moment I during the pandemic, like we didn't break up or anything like that, but obviously the pandemic put a stop to music in general, and then I decided to start my own business during the lockdown, and I'm just quite busy with that at the moment. So I'm not going to go back to gigs with Sound Affair and the Irresistibles, but I'm sure Con will pick up something himself now. He might continue Sound Affair, just not with me at the moment.
Yeah, because I was going to mention the Irresistibles as well. Like you were very, very busy when you were gigging. You were quite busy. But I know you have you've got a new hair salon in Nina.
I do.
Hey, look, I'm all for plugging everything here, Anna. Okay, it's not just about the music. So let's get it out there. Okay, it's called. I think it's called. Is it Arena or Arana?
Arana. Yeah.
Arana.
So the luxury hair extensions and hair salon. So it's good so far. Since we opened on the 10th of May, it's been flat out busy. Look, you know yourself, when you're a musician or a singer, like music is my passion and entertainment is my thing, but I have to give time at the moment, you know. But you're never music, and I'm not music. I just you know, I did 5 or 6 years with the Irresistibles and Sound Affair, and Dave, nobody loved the band like I loved the band. I loved gigging with them, but I always wanted to play certain venues, you know, like the Keys in Galway or Reardon's in Cork, and I had these in my head, and I always wanted to play them when I was younger. Then I got to play them. Then I was playing them every week or every 2 weeks, and then there's no need for me to do that again. This is for myself. For the next 5 years, I've done it all, and I kind of reached the goals I wanted to reach with the cover band music scene. There was nowhere else to go for me. That's why.
I agree with you. I did it myself. I toured around all of those venues in this country umpteen times,
it's
and
great.
I was like, listen, it's brilliant. But I was like you as well when I was younger. I was like, like I have to play like in the Old Oak in Cork, or I have to play, you know, the Keys or Dolan's in Limerick. Like these were the places if you played there, you've made it in Ireland. So now I've done that like yourself, and it is kind of like, right, okay, what next? So the hair salon is flying it, which is great news. I won't be over for hair extensions, unfortunately. But look, you never know. Like, you know, I'm sure it's there's going to be lots of people interested after our interview now. And you were also a former dental nurse, and I was looking at this today, right? And I was going, how do you get from being a dental nurse into hairdressing and also sing at the same time? You're obviously quite the multitasker.
Such a random thing. It was actually a few years ago. Yeah, I just fell into dental nursing, if that's possible. I did. I
Yeah,
was,
yeah,
I was going. It must have been 7 years ago now. I'd say my neighbor and family friend. He has a dental surgery in Nina, and he just randomly rang me one day and asked me, would I come in and have a chat with him? And then he trained me up, got me trained up, and
brilliant.
yeah, I started working there. And I loved it. There were lovely people to work for, great fun. Learned lots about that
Yeah,
industry.
yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
It's good. It's good to try to do everything, but come now.
yeah.
Like here's the important stuff, because then all of a sudden, so you're doing your thing, you're busy with the new salon, and you're busy with life in general, and then you've got this Instagram page that's really busy as well, and it works for you actually, because I was looking at a bit of it today. It's really cool the way you're doing different sort of demonstrations of stuff, and then you're just talking about your life and all this, and it's really interesting to watch because it's kind of like your story as it
Yeah.
progresses, and it's a lot of people are into it. You've got a big following there, and is that something you enjoy over on Instagram?
I actually think, like, with the band and that, my main thing, I love singing, but I love entertaining people. That's my thing. More
Yeah,
so, even I love to have like a crowd in the palm of my hand and be chatting
yeah,
and having
yeah,
fun and getting people going. And I think that I'm kind of using my Instagram to do that now instead of being out with the band, if you get
yeah,
me. I
yeah,
just like, it goes hand in hand. It's entertainment. So I'm used to entertainment. Now I'm using it on my Instagram, doing my stories. Obviously it helps with marketing for the business and all that. But really my own
yes,
Instagram, I have one for the business separate, but my own personal one is just, it's just entertainment and fun. And I would love to work in the entertainment industry again in the future. So I want to
yeah.
keep my finger in there and keep
Keep,
tipping.
yeah, keep tipping away at it. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
But it's good. I was looking at some of your stuff today, and it's like you're always engaging the way you do stuff. Like it's fun because it's moving all
Thanks,
the time.
Dave.
That's the trick, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
I know myself with the show. You kind of have to keep it moving. It can't be sort of stagnant for too long because people's
Yeah.
attention spans are very
Tiny,
short.
tiny. Yeah.
They're like minute. Like my last guest there was talking to the lads over in the States. Like even releasing an album now is like it's nearly just a no
Pointless.
go. It's
No.
pointless, which is a
Yeah.
shame, but it is kind of because people just don't listen to an entire album anymore. But through Instagram, you were contacted then. Somebody had a look and saw and went, here's Anna O'Connor. Let's get her onto Last Singer Standing. So how did that happen? Was it a phone
Yeah.
call just out of the blue, or?
Yeah, it did. I mean, 10 years ago, I would have went for these things myself. I did enter the X Factor with my dad. We actually ended up even playing Wembley Arena to
Brilliant.
5,000 people a year. I was mad
Yeah.
for all this. But then I did them all, and I like that. I did The Voice, I did X Factor, and I said, right, that's it. I've done that now. And that
Yeah.
park, I tried
Yeah.
them all. Did I do it? So then, on my Instagram, someone contacted me on Instagram. Actually, I'm trying to think of his first name now, and I can't. Nicky Byrne is the guy that presents the
Yes.
show, but it's his
Yeah.
brother for Shinna Will, and his brother contacted me on Instagram. So that's how he just asked me would I come up to Dublin and have a chat with them. They had a new show, and he has come up with this concept. Adam is his name. Couldn't think of it there for a second. Adam has come up with this concept for the show, The Last Singer Standing. He works for Shinna Will Productions, and he wanted me to come up, have a chat with them or whatever. So I did that. I said, look, I go along with these things. If it's a yay, if it's a nay, it's not going to hurt me. I'm a big girl now and I don't need these things. I've other stuff going on. Just see how it goes. So
see what
along
happens.
with it, and did a kind of an interview or whatever, had a chat with them. Sang a few songs and they wanted me. So it was great, And then I loved it. Like they put me up for almost a week in Dublin recording, just the whole thing of entertainment. I'm so interested in it. I really got to, and even your man that owns Shinna Will Productions and Joe got chatting to all those people. They're so interesting. I love learning.
I think if I'm right, is that Larry Bass?
Yes.
Yes, Larry, gentleman, absolute gentleman. Yeah.
Everybody's so
yeah, Shinna Will are a great company, fabulous company. And when they do stuff, if anybody says to you it's Shinna Will are doing it, well then you can't, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Were you concerned about that? Like when you were thinking, okay, is this going to be quality? Are they going to make me sound good? Because sometimes you go into these things and it can go south. It can be.
Yeah, I only wanted to be in the show if they wanted me to sound good, because yourself, the show, I think this concept of a show is gone. This X Factor and someone comes in and they laugh at her because she's a terrible singer or she sings in the rugby and it's hilarious. Like
Yeah.
that's gone. People don't want to make a fool out of you anymore on TV.
You
It's
don't.
not.
Yeah.
So I was
Yeah.
kind of happy enough when I felt that Shinna will, like, even in the show when they're recording, and you pick your song, it looks like you sing that song straight away, but you don't. Ronan comes in, he's the musical director, takes you
Yeah.
away for minutes, practice, get it right, and gives
Yeah.
does breathing exercise, does a little meditation with you. Really they want you to do your best, and they want
Yeah.
you to. That's what I liked about the show. When I knew that, I was happy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's a bit more of a safety net when you kind of know they're looking out for you. And you
It's-
did. Now, I watched it, okay? I watched it, and you did Shania Twain, Feel Like a Woman,
Mhm.
which is cool. And you knocked it out of the park, totally. And I was watching it, and I was telling the lads here, I was like, there's Anna now, she's going to be on the show next week. And they're like, no way. I was like, yeah, she's going to be on the show, and she's going to win tonight. Because when you had done your thing, I was like, she's going to win. She's going to win tonight.
Oh, thanks, Dave.
No, I did. I did. I'll be honest. And I said, she's true. She's true on that performance. No bother whatsoever. And then, of course, Rachel was behind you in the background,
Yes.
who I know quite well as well from Portlaoise, Rachel
Yeah.
Farrell, and she did her thing or whatever like that. It's a tricky thing, isn't it? Because it's really, you don't know what way things are going to go, because you could come out and blow it out of the park like you did, and then somebody else comes out and blows it out of the park in a different way. And it's a very tricky scenario, isn't it? Or
Yeah.
I was just thinking after, you could be sitting there for weeks and not have to sing at all.
Yeah, and my intention in that particular show, because that was my second show, I was not going to buzz in at all, because you do have a small idea, I suppose. Maybe I'm not supposed to say that, but of the songs, you have a little idea, you know where they're going to come up. But I didn't really like the songs; they weren't for me. So I thought, I'm not going to buzz in today now, and tomorrow they'll be better. As in, it's next week, but when you're recording, it's today,
tomorrow.
So my intention was not to buzz in, but I got pulled in, so I had no choice. So look,
you're kind of
happy enough. I just didn't want to make an idiot out of myself. That was my priority, and I felt I was okay with it. Like, I don't think I did make an idiot out of myself. That was the main thing.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You didn't. You sang fabulously, looked fabulous. Everything was brilliant. It was a great performance. I was thinking after, and I was saying, I'm going to ask you this now. Like, would you ordinarily sing that song if you were doing a covers gig? Would you sing Shania Twain song if it was in your set?
No, I've never. Maybe years ago when it was out first, when I was playing in the Park Bar.
yeah. Because it's kind of it's a dated number, isn't it? It was everybody was doing it for a while, and then that kind of went by the wayside.
Like neither of those songs. I also sang Wonderwall, and that I definitely wouldn't sing Wonderwall. It would be the last thing I think to sing. With a park, there's nowhere to go with Wonderwall. It's very just the same. But
flat, isn't it? Yeah, it's kind of,
I'm not kind of blaming the songs. I think Rachel absolutely was the best singer, and she deserved to go through.
Yeah, well, look, I think it's just it's a funny format too, I have to say, because I think it's down to just the look of the draw, the way you're brought in and brought out, and all that kind of stuff as well. Tell me this: since you've done it, have you gotten have you got a bit of a sort of a bug again to do a bit more singing, or have you anything planned since?
No, I've nothing major planned. But it's gas. I was on Tip FM this week, and I did a few interviews with papers and stuff like that, and I do enjoy that. I enjoy the media side of it, but no, I've no draw at all to go back to kind of pub gigs and bands. I will someday be in entertainment again, but I don't think it will be in the pub scene. I'd have a big draw to do more television. I loved that.
Yes.
So hopefully else will come up.
Yeah, because you're very natural. You were quite natural, I have to say. Last week, you came across like natural on the screen, relaxed, and I could see you, probably presenting a show like that, or interviewing on a musical kind of arts thing as well.
It's I suppose being in the right place, the right time. Maybe I'd like to do a bit more, maybe training in that. It's just not something I'm concentrating on right now, but I definitely wouldn't rule it out down the road. I'd love to do something like that.
Brilliant. So hair salon by day and TV presenter by night. Who knows? Or
whatever you want.
Well, there's so many people have crossed over. Like when I think of even Anna Geary there from just playing the sport of hurling, and now she's looking at Ireland's Fittest Family, and people just are spotted, I think, by being natural and real and just come across as being you're genuine. And that works in any form, I think, no matter what you do. If it's on screen anyway, it does. You can't be fake. It's just, there's no room.
I agree with you. And I think if you're authentic, well, I can't stick watching anyone that's not being real. It's just, I'm not going to be myself. I mean, I suppose you try and be the best version of yourself, but
well, you do polish it up a little bit, you do. But at the same time, once the reality comes out that you are you. But so, well, look, I wish you all the best with the salon and stuff like that. And who knows, like sometimes when you see something like this, that having been on the show last week and stuff, you never know. You never know what could happen next. You might get back into doing something totally that you were unexpecting to do.
That's it, and I'm all for those kind of things. We'll see. The story won't end here anyway, Dave. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, absolutely. How are they all over in Gary Kennedy now? Are the pubs open again, or is there music back there?
Down there, Larkins is a great spot. Like Larkins isn't owned by my family anymore. The boys own it, but they're doing an unbelievable job down there. It's brilliant, and I think the Sunday evening sessions are back down in Larkins. So brilliant. It's great. I actually must go down there for a night. I was down there a lot over the summer, but I haven't been lately. But Gary Kennedy is great. Yeah,
I love it. It's a fabulous place. I was in there one day actually. I was at one of those in the sessions, and it was something else because I was just in there we're sitting around, had a bit to eat, and next minute all these musicians just arrived in, and I was like, "Jesus, what's going on here?" And it was like, "Okay, let's get around to Guinness. This is going to be fun." And it just happened. It just happened, and it was brilliant. Random because we didn't know. So
nothing like it.
Nothing like it. Absolutely nothing like it. Tell me this anyway. The hair salon, I have to wish you all the best with it. I know I've said it a few times, but I have to because I think it's cool. Over in Nina, it's Arana, isn't it? Arana. So, are you going to branch out and become a franchise, or are you just going to stay in Nina?
No, I definitely want to grow that. I want to be the next Peter Mark. That's my plan anyway.
I have to say, Anna, it's very stylish looking building in the front. I saw the pictures of it and all that. Like you didn't spare any expense or there was no messing around. You've delivered it very professionally and it looks great. The front of it.
But I have a tagline. It's like a Arana experience hair, and that experience hair is it's on my logo. But actually, I feel like I've just put all my experience from life into the brand, so that's it might look expensive, but it was more. I have an aunt who's an interior designer, Jodie, and she put a lot of work into it and had a lot of help. So I was lucky.
You can tell, you can tell.
I've learned over the years, even working with Con and the Irresistibles, I learned a lot about branding and stuff like that that I wouldn't have anything about before. So you learn from everybody, and then I put all of that into the salon. So
it's very important. It is important. I mean, at the end of the day. So maybe there's an angle here now. I'm just thinking maybe that's how you're going to end up in the entertainment industry, like the Peter Mark of the behind the scenes entertainments in TV. You could always get your own brand of Arana kind of hair products and get them in there, or RTE. Get it all in there. Why not? It's been an absolute pleasure having you on, and I can't thank you enough because I know you're really busy today, and for you to have.
I'm really delighted to be.
Well, to have made the time in between everything. I know you're enjoying. Well, that hotel looks fabulous. I have to say, it really does. It looks super.
I'll be in 10 minutes.
Well, I hope they're looking after you, and I hope that you set your alarm and be up early. Okay, don't miss anything that you're anywhere you're supposed to be. Thank you.
So I'm up at 5 a.m.
Oh wow! Oh my God! Okay. Well, listen. Thank you so much, Anna. We will. I'll put a link up on the page tomorrow to the salon. Anyway, I will do that because everybody has seen you on Last Singer Standing last Friday. Everyone knows about it and loved it. But we'll put a link up to the salon tomorrow. Okay.
Thank you, Dave.
And listen, we'll have an old pint down in Larkins at some stage soon. We'll take a spin down and we'll drop into the session.
Great.
Okay, mind yourself. Take care. Thanks, Anna. Thanks. Bye. Good night. So that was Anna O'Connor there, chilling out in a hotel room and making me. I feel so jealous. I'd love to be going somewhere. And when I think hotels, I always love that whole idea of going away somewhere and having the little hotel before you go to the next place and kind of chilling and stuff. There's nothing like it. And especially the little extras that they sometimes give you in hotels. Like it's just, that's when you're on holidays, all the little extras. So that thank you so much, Anna O'Connor. You would have seen her last weekend, the last 2 weekends on Last Singer Standing, the new RTE program. and she was brilliant on it, really good on it. And best wishes to Rachel as well, who we know in Portlaoise, Rachel Farrell, who got through as well, and wishing her all the best with the future on that program as well. So yeah, moving on, I'm going to try and do a little bit of music as well. Now tonight, before we go to Poetry Corner in, well, another 15 minutes or so. So what I do want to do is play you something, because I was looking back over some music today, kind of the catalogue of music that I have been playing. And there was 2 songs that jumped out at me that I really wanted to play. There's a guy who was the only guest, I would say, who was almost made it to Friday Night Live, but didn't get on at the time because things just happened due to circumstances. He couldn't make it. And he's based in Canada, but he's an Irish guy. And his name is Tiz McNamara. Tiz is an amazing singer-songwriter and producer based in Canada. But he brought out this song called April Fool, and I played it on the show that night that he was meant to come on, and he couldn't make it. But I just loved it so much, I just played it anyway, because it's just so fantastic. You have to watch the video of this. Just sit back and enjoy this. We're going to take a little break on Friday Night Live from the chat and just really enjoy this body of music. It's 5 minutes long, lads, and every bit of it is wonderful. Tiz McNamara on Friday Night Live, April Fool.
Well, I met her at the bottom of Hope Street as the rain brought the first day of June. I've never got to know so many strangers. She held me like the stars hold the moon. I fall on my knees and I fall on my knees. You know it hit me hard, it hit me heavy. I guess I always looked up to you. I know that you'd be almost 34 now. Instead you've just become the April Fool. And I fall on my knees and I fall on my knees and I fall on my knees and I fall on my knees. They told us that you were only sleeping. They told us that you would be for a while. As the years pass, the anger starts to creep in. It's too much to take in as a child. Well, I met her at the bottom of Hope Street.
Wow. Tis McNamara, April Fool. For those of you that are still here, I hope you enjoyed that. If you watch that video, it's very, very, very intense. It's a very, very intense piece of music and a very beautiful piece of music. And I just love it. That's the song that got me completely and utterly head over heels into Tis McNamara's music. And there's a lot more of it there, but that is just a wonderful video and a wonderful piece of music. I would encourage you all just to go watch the video, download it, watch it on YouTube, send it around. I think it's just brilliant. And yeah, you're right, Brew. It's a trippy video, but it's a very, very personal and intense story from Tis. And it's just a wonderful story. If you watch it a couple of times, you'll see and get the message in it. It's heartbreaking, but wonderfully heartbreaking, the story. Check it out and Google him. Go find him, his website or whatever. We will get him on Friday Night Live at some point when our schedules kind of free up a little bit more. He's quite busy. He's a very, very busy producer in Canada. So we will get him again, though, for sure. I just love it. So yeah, we're going to take a little break from the chat just for a while, just to enjoy a little bit of music. Another friend of mine who was on the show twice, actually, in the last couple of months. She was one of my first guests actually ever on the show, and since then has gone on to be join up with a friend, an Irish friend of hers, and become a huge success here in Ireland with a band called Featherbed. That is, of course, Jill Hales-Barnes and Stuart Kenny, who were my guests a couple of weeks ago. And they basically, long story short, got together. Jill is in Arizona and Stuart is in Ireland, and online they started recording during the pandemic and created this band called Featherbed Band, and it has become a huge success for them. And only about a month ago, I think, not even, Jill made the trip the whole way over here to Ireland and met Stuart in person for the first time with a band, and they played in the Silk and Thomas in Kildare town to a full audience, like a sold out show, because everybody had been watching them online. And especially, of course, my friends over in Music for Mad Times, a wonderful group. You should check them out on Facebook. They kind of got behind them and supported them and sort of promoted them all along, and it really grew into something. And also, I just want to play this for Jill as well, because I know she's going through a little bit of a tough time too. And my heart goes out to her as well this week. And I want to give a little dedication to her as well. And that's all we say. So this is called Come Back Home by Featherbed. Check them out, guys. To find them online, they're called Featherbed Band, or the Featherbed Band. And they are working on a new album. They already have one out, and they're working on the second album. And this is like lockdown. These guys have been busy. And I love this. It's called Come Back Home. So this is Stuart and Jill from Featherbed Band. Enjoy this, and then we'll move on to Poetry Corner shortly as well. Here we go.
Driving me crazy. You're on a one-way road, all alone. Oh, baby, stop where you're going. It's getting you nowhere. Come on and turn around. Oh, you won't survive out there on your own. Can't you see this? It's not too late. come back home. Oh, you won't survive out there on your own. Can't you see this? It's not too late to turn around and come back home. 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 Come back home.
The wonderful sounds of Featherbed Band, and I must say I absolutely love their enthusiasm and everything about them. They're just fabulous. They're a real success story. The two guys, Jill Hales Barnes and Stuart Kenny, the two of them. I love what they've done throughout lockdown and throughout a pandemic. They are the epitome of positivity and everything that you need to be in the arts world. They broke all the rules and decided to make something really good out of something really bad. And I know a lot of musicians out there and artists that have done that. But there's not many that would rival what the two guys have done, I have to say. If you check them out, Featherbed Band, just watch their progress over this in the space of a year and a half. It's been phenomenal what they've done remotely from country to country, and then when they met up the finale there about a month ago, and they're still going strong with a second album. That's pretty interesting, I must say. Anyway, moving on. I hope you enjoyed that little bit of music. Moving on, it's almost time for our weekly segment of the Poetry Corner, which I love. It's at the end of the show every week, and the reason I love it so much, and I spoke to my guest tonight a little bit about this during Soundcheck, is because I learn something every week. I really do. And of course, if you know my dear friend, as most of you do, Catrice Greer, who curates and produces this segment for me, based in Baltimore, in Washington, in the United States. Catrice and I came up with this idea for this segment a long time, about a year back, about a little less than a year ago. And since then, it just has grown and grown and grown, because poetry and spoken word and all of the genres that go with spoken word, especially, totally surprised me, because I know very little about it, and I've learned an awful lot about it, and I'm sure I'm going to learn an awful lot more about it tonight with my next guest, who is Elizabeth McGeown. And I hope I got that right, Elizabeth. And if I didn't, she'll tell me anyway. But before we do that, I want to play a little piece for you by Elizabeth, who is based in Belfast and currently has won a lot of what's called slams. And we'll talk about that during this interview. So spoken word slams are where people get together and kind of compete, I suppose, and also get exposure for their lyrics or poetry. Get to perform in front of audiences and slam as such against each other. So I'm going to talk a lot about that, because that's new to me, absolutely. But this is called Divided Land, and I took this off of her website today because I love it. And this is Elizabeth doing her spoken word piece here, performing it, and it's just wonderful. So have a listen to this first, and then we shall have a quick chat. Well, not a quick chat, a good chat with Elizabeth. Enjoy. Here we go.
Northern Ireland, there are things you don't talk about. In the 1960s, people learned the hard way to stop. Silenced in the 70s with a bit of jail time if you didn't comply. Unlike the 80s, when they wouldn't stop talking so much they were reduced to mime, a crime to be heard, absurdly dubbed. Then the 90s, when talking turned to singing and they pretended to hold hands and teach the world to sing. Somewhere in the middle of all this, I appeared. Maybe I absorbed it in the womb, absorbed the whispers and the bin lid rattles like I absorbed my mother's nutrients, like they absorbed their own nutrients from their fat and muscle and bone marrow until nothing was left. It took him 66 days to absorb himself, and I think in the womb I heard it. I'm made of it. McGeown's only last 42 days before their family take them off strike for health reasons. You can't die as it'll make you sick, as only a McGeown can manage to fuck up dying. I am your red right hand. I am this divided land. I didn't realise Zombie by the Cranberries was about Northern Ireland, as everyone has their tanks and their bombs and their bombs and their guns, don't they? Memory. A fire was just a fire, and I laughed as I didn't know why there was a guy on the top, as that was 5th of November. Remember, I read it in books. My mum hushes me, saying she'll explain later, not wanting the neighbours to know. I don't know, it's the Pope, because I was sheltered from all this, living in interdenominational bliss, never heard the sash, don't know it when people ask me to sing, as I live in a bubble. I am your red right hand. I am this divided land, came up the lagging in a bubble, in my Protestant bubble, in my protected Protestant school, while McGeowns were dropping like flies all around me. I was all warm and safe for the glowing neon surname attached to my forehead. No one ever spoke of it. Francis Felix became Frank, became franklicized, and I never wondered why he didn't come with us to see the bands. And a Catholic taxi driver shot dead. This is what the news is for, to tell you who's been shot. I didn't even understand half the words, but can still hear them now with a kind of muscle memory. Secretary of State Tom King, Patrick Mayhew, paramilitary shooting, kneecapped, found dead, shot dead. We didn't take the soup, he said, but people keep force feeding me, McGeown. McGeown, I am your red right hand. I am this divided land. Word association. Burnt out car bomb, petrol bomb scare, Castle Court, normality, bomb damage, fire damage, seal. I never wondered why so many places were on fire. Some places were afire more often than not, which led to cheap school uniforms. Memory. In the library, made some friends, and I can pinpoint the exact moment. Are you a Protestant or a Catholic? And time stops. More words from the news to tell you who is dead, Protestant and Catholic, and I resolve to find out what they mean when I go home. Should I have been listening all along? I take pieces of evidence out and examine them. What exactly are people doing to each other's kneecaps? Why do the orange men carry swords? Why do they look so unhappy? What if their sword slips? A secret fear. Every year I edge away from the spikes, a grey spot on a happy day. Is it a happy day? And a Catholic taxi driver shot dead. This is what the news is for, to tell you who's been shot. I didn't even understand half the words, but can still hear them now with a kind of muscle memory. Secretary of State Tom King, Patrick Mayhew, paramilitary shooting, kneecapped, found dead, shot dead. This is what the news is for, to tell you who is dead. I am your red right hand. I am this divided land, derided man, black and tan, home rule plan, balaclava football fan, also ran, weapons ban, kicking the can, I'll tell me ma. I am this divided land.
Wow. Guys, all I can say is, like, that is probably, and I always say I know very little about spoken word, but that is the most intensely beautiful piece of spoken word that I have seen or heard so far on Friday Night Live. There is a lot of information in that piece, and there's a lot of history, a lot of emotion, there's just so much going on there. So I'm going to go straight over to Elizabeth and get straight into it. So welcome to Friday Night Live, Elizabeth McGeown. Am I right?
Hi, Dave.
Did I get it right? Did I get it right?
You did. You were great. It was perfect.
And you know what? When you were in the poem, or in the piece, in the spoken word piece, and you even did it in the spoken word piece, which I love, was McGeown. I was like, well, at least I'm not the only one. She obviously is.
Yeah, no, it happens a lot. I mean, to be honest, that originally was meant to be kind of a funny poem about how to say my name, and then it turned into something else. So yeah.
And absolutely did it turn into something else. I mean, you probably have summed up possibly 300 to 400 years of history on this island in a few minutes. Very, very well, by the way, might I add. Very well. I love the way you keep referring back to that I am your red hand, and it's so true. It goes back to that all the time. You're obviously very driven and affected by living in Belfast, obviously, for a start, but living in the north of Ireland and all of the stuff, the unfortunate things that have happened with the Troubles and stuff. Is that a big part of your life and your performances?
A little bit. I mean, I found when I started writing, I was writing mainly political things. I'm not sure why. I felt like they were very much the things that spoke to me. And again, as I said, that was originally meant to be like a lighthearted sort of comedy piece about don't say my name incorrectly, and then it turned into something else. So obviously I must have wanted to speak about it on some level, but it's also it's also kind of coming, I guess, from a place of privilege, because I'm in the situation where the area I lived in wasn't too bad. I didn't see things happening that much. I more heard about them on the news, which is what the poem's about, which is why the confusion, because I think if somebody is living in an area where a lot of violence was happening, they wouldn't have been confused. Part of the reason I was so confused was because I was sheltered, and I was hearing things on the news, but I didn't realize that was strange. And I did see army jeeps, but I just assumed everybody had searches going into shops, and everyone had army jeeps. I thought it was just normal police. And then you find out years later that it's not. So it's just about my kind of confusion, especially because my parents are, one Protestant, one Catholic, and not realizing at the time that was weird, or why that was a strange thing, or why people sometimes made jokes.
Yes,
so I was quite lucky,
and it is unique. That was quite unique to have your parents, one from each side of the divide as such. But in your house, that was normal. You're all people, you're a family, and there's nothing wrong with that, But it's amazing, isn't it? What was going on right around you, around where you were living, like.
Well, that's the thing. I think that's well, yeah, that's the thing. I think that's probably why I grew up in it. When I say a good area, it was still a working class area. We were working class. We didn't have a lot of money, but it was a quiet area. And it was an area that my parents chose to live in because of their situation.
Yes.
Because they knew,
good decision.
Yeah, because they were both being kind of working class themselves. They both came from not really rough areas, but slightly rougher areas, and areas that were more divided. Like my mum specifically came from what would be considered to be a very divided area. And when they got together, they were just like, we're just going to move somewhere where there hopefully is no trouble. And they were lucky enough that they found somewhere.
Yeah. And I think that's a very sensible decision to make. In my opinion, it's all about family and your children and your life and living your life, not getting swamped and brought down by politics and all that. And thankfully, things are, different now, I think, and better, and a lot better, and it's great. I love Belfast. I absolutely love it. It's a place I've been many times, and I used to go up there and play in Auntie Annie's, which I quite like. Fabulous venue, and various different places, but I love Belfast. Tell me, what is a pushcart nominated poet? What does that mean?
Well, Catrice is actually one of these as well, which you may or may basically what happens is it's a little bit hard to explain, but there are lots of poetry journals. Some of them are actual paper magazines, and some of them are online journals. And you can send your poetry into these journals, and if they like it, they'll publish it. If they don't like it, they won't publish it. That's how it works. But those journals every year, if they decide that they want to opt in, every journal, online or paper, as far as I know, in the world, is allowed to pick what they consider to be their personal top 6 poems of the year that were in that journal, and then they send them to the Pushcart organization in America, and then the organization in America picks their favorite out of all of those, and they go in a book. And I wasn't in the book or anything, and that's absolutely fine. But the particular journal that I was in, and the journal that Catrice was in as well, which are two different ones, they both thought that my poem and Catrice's poem were one of their personal top 6 of that year.
Very good. Oh, well, that's an achievement. That is a huge achievement, in my opinion.
Yeah, such a surprise, but it was lovely.
It's lovely to get that, isn't it? To get the support and the recognition. Absolutely. But now, you're also published in journals including Banshee, which I've heard of before, Abridged, and Rig Welter. So are they American journals, or are they just global, or what? How do they work?
Banshee's Irish, which if you've heard of it, you might know.
Yeah.
Abridged is Northern Irish. Rig Welter's actually English. Although the name is confusing, I know. So I think I kind of started getting recommendations from people closer to home. So I found out about Irish ones first. So I began to send the Irish ones, and then I began to send to maybe a few English ones. And I have been in a couple of American online journals and one Canadian print magazine. But obviously, because of where I am and because of who I know, the ones that I hear about more will be UK and Ireland based.
Yes. But it is nice to send your work abroad as well and get the recognition, isn't it? There's something lovely about that when you kind of get some recognition in America.
Oh yeah, especially if it's a magazine. Yeah, it's so nice to have the magazine in your hands.
To see it in your hand there. I wanted to talk to you mainly tonight about slams, because this is something I've heard a lot about it, obviously, by speaking with other guests, and Catrice has told me about it as well, but I don't know anything really about it, and I haven't been to a slam, as in a spoken word slam, yet. But it's my goal to go to one as soon as one is happening somewhere in my area here, maybe Limerick or in Munster. What is a spoken word slam?
Essentially, a slam is a competition where poets can enter. There's various different ways. Sometimes you have to be selected specifically to enter. Sometimes you have to win a competition to get there, and sometimes you can just show up and enter. And then each poet has 3 minutes to do what they consider to be their best poem, and there are judges in the audience. Sometimes the judges are the organizers, and sometimes the judges are just random people in the audience, and sometimes they hold up scorecards, which is quite daunting. And and then you just get scored.
It's kind of like a boxing match, isn't it? Kind of.
Yeah, well, I was thinking ice skating because that's kind of my sports frame of reference. But it's like, I have a slightly more feminine sports frame of reference there. But
yeah, it's strange, isn't it? Yeah. How does that feel when you're on stage doing it? Is that strange to see people just like hold up the scorecard?
Oh well, they don't do that until you come off this. You don't stand there and watch them do that. Because you need to make way for the next person coming up. So what happens is you just go down and you sit down, and then the judge asks people to show up their cards. And I generally don't watch, but I know that other people do watch. Yeah. That's entirely up to them. But then because there's been obviously the past year or so, there's been a lot of this has been happening online. So some of it's just done by like private message.
Yes.
So I'm not sure which I prefer. Like, do I want to know who really liked my poem and who really didn't like it, or is it better to not know? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think it's more about the performance, really, isn't it? At the end of the day, once you enjoyed yourself. Exactly.
Yeah.
But you have become somewhat of a slam sort of expert, because what I have here in front of me is like all Ulster Poetry Slam champion. Okay, so straight away that's a huge achievement. Where was the All Ulster Slam? Where did that happen? Where was the event?
It usually happens in Enniskillen.
Yeah.
So once a year, a bunch of people travel to Enniskillen, and it's not one of the ones that you can just show up at. You have to pre-qualify to get there. So generally, it's in October, and a couple of months before that, there'll be heats held. They try to hold one in each county. So there'll be a Derry one, Fermanagh one, and then there'll be the Belfast one. And generally 2 or 3 people from each of those will show up at Enniskillen, and they will enter that competition. So.
Very good. And were you blown away when you won it? Were you like, wow?
That was actually.
You were in there kind of thinking, okay, I'm pretty good here. I've got a chance here. Or were you totally like, wow, I can't believe that I'm actually here?
To be honest, the whole thing was very strange. I've won it actually a couple of times, which is really nice. The first time I won it was in 2016, and it was the first slam I'd won. And it's weird to say, but I always liked my stuff, but I wasn't really sure if anybody else liked my stuff, because I'd entered a couple of competitions in Belfast and stuff like that, and everybody was kind of like, yeah, she's okay, you know. And then I went down to Dublin, and people seemed to really like me, and I was like, oh, that's weird. So then I somehow managed to get through. Because I went to the Derry heat, and I qualified from the Derry heat. So I wasn't sure if I had a chance at all, because it seemed to depend where I went, what sort of scores I got. Yeah, so
different tastes and different audiences.
Yeah, and the different ages and everything, and gender balance and all. So I was really delighted. I was so happy. Yeah,
brilliant. Well, from there you came down on the All Ireland Slam finalist. You represented Northern Ireland in the Hammer and Tongue UK Slam. Now, this sounds really cool, in the Royal Albert Hall. Now, before we go any further, let's just say it's the Royal Albert Hall. That's all we need to know. You've been there and performed there. That's pretty special.
It is. It was very exciting. I've actually been there twice, it's a really wonderful experience. And you get to hear people from all over. Most of the people who go there are English, because the organization that runs it is based in England. So most of the poets, most of the qualifying heats are in England, because that's where they're based. But they have a few from Scotland and a few from Northern Ireland every year. And every year they're getting more of us, or finding out about more of us, which is super exciting as well. But yeah, it's a really nice day. And to be honest, everybody is so excited to be there that it's actually, there's no unpleasantness, you know. I mean, people are nervous, but everybody seems to be really supporting each other.
Yeah. Did you have to travel over then to get into the heats for that slam?
What I kind of did, to be honest, this was a couple of years ago, so I ended up kind of chancing my arm, because I'd won the Northern Irish one, and they'd never. For some reason, there'd been a breakdown in communication, and I think that they thought that there weren't any slams in Northern Ireland, because the people who ran it didn't know that there were slams in Northern Ireland. So I just messaged them and said, hi there, I actually won the Northern Irish. Does that qualify me? And they were like, oh, yes. Yes, it does.
So yes, it does. Absolutely.
But I just think nobody from Northern Ireland had ever messaged them before and asked.
Fair play. Well done.
Because there was just... They didn't know about it, so
well, I bet you're glad you did now, because that
it was just really nice. Yeah,
prestigious thing to do. Absolutely. Tell me a little bit about this is obviously an Irish festival. I'm assuming the Court International Festival of Literature. Is that Irish? I'm assuming, because we have an Irish word in there.
It is Galway.
Galway.
And it's Galway's main literary festival, which takes place roughly around Easter every year. And they just have loads of, I mean, not just poetry, you know, novelists, authors, and, you know, artists as well. So I went down to that competition twice, actually. The first time, I really enjoyed it. I didn't place in the competition. That was absolutely fine. It was just, it's such a beautiful city, you know. I was really glad to be there. But then a couple of years I went down again. I qualified to get there again, and I managed to win it, which was wonderful because the prize, the top 3 got slots at Electric Picnic.
Oh, lovely! So you got to perform. What stage were you? What stage were you on Electric Picnic?
Do you know EP well, or
I do? Yes. Yeah.
It was the Minefield.
Minefield, yes.
Yeah, where all the kind of the arts and theatre and the Irish language and all stuff. So it's directly behind the main stage. Yeah.
Ah, super. Yeah, a great part of EP. Yeah, absolute great part. Great. The opportunities that come from these slams are obviously is tremendous. It's the connections, isn't it? It's where by winning something you go on to something else and spreading the word.
And
really.
and even if you don't win, so sometimes the judging, sometimes somebody else will win because they're amazing. Sometimes the judging will just go a bit strange. But it's just, sometimes it doesn't even matter who wins because you might get a gig offer out of it if somebody just hears your stuff and likes you.
Exactly.
You know, so it doesn't matter if you win or not, you know?
Yeah, it doesn't. I wanted to ask you about your involvement in sort of film spoken word as well, because I saw, totally accidentally by the way, yesterday, and I watched it twice, your short film Witch, and it is fabulous. And I was like, whoa, hang on a minute, I didn't realize that Elizabeth was doing this as well. Is this something that you've been doing for a while, or are you just sort of morphing into this world as well of sort of
it's brand new. it's absolutely brand new. Because again, it was the whole kind of chancing my arm thing. Poetry involves a lot of chancing your arm. Really, that's kind of what it is. You just need to kind of fire off emails and get things done. But I had seen a few poetry films that other poets had done and really liked the idea of it. That not just doing a poem to camera, but like having, you know, acting and scenery and props in. So I kind of I applied for some funding during lockdown, and I kind of said that, you know, when it's safe to do so, when we're allowed to film, I would like to team up with a local filmmaker, and I have 2 poems in mind that I want to do. The second one isn't finished yet, but we're midway through recording the second one. And that was the first one. And it was just really interesting because as a poet, I think a lot about words, but not necessarily about the visuals that accompany them. So that was really good for me to kind of think about costume, location, props, imagery, colors. Like some of that stuff obviously was the filmmaker, but quite a lot of that stuff was me. It was a very combination of the both of us.
You have to think about it too. It's important if it's your piece.
No, so I really enjoyed working with someone and being able to kind of use my visual side of my brain, which poetry doesn't call for an awful lot.
Yes. Well, I think that you just literally fell into that world and genre perfectly. And I don't know if you might know this or not yet, but I can tell you from watching it that I can't wait to see the next one and the next one and the next one. It suits you so well. You were excellent in it, and of course your voice as well. Everything. And do you want to mention the person you were working with, your filmmaker?
Absolutely, Thomas Pollock of Frontier Pictures. He actually doesn't. He has a lot of experience as a filmmaker. He's done music videos, but he hadn't worked with a lot of poets. But I found him because he worked with one Northern Irish poet called Moira Donaldson. They had worked together on about 3 or 4 very short videos. I think they were about less than a minute each. And Moira shared those videos. So when I thought I want to make a film, who was that guy Moira worked with? And that's how that happened. So it's Frontier Pictures, Thomas Pollock.
Very good. Well, superb job by himself. Both of you together just worked. And it was a lovely surprise for me to come across that and discover it, to be honest, because it was something I wasn't expecting. I knew we were going to be speaking about slams and spoken word, but that new outlet that you're involved in is definitely suits you very, very well. I would encourage everybody to go and watch it. Witch by Elizabeth McGowan on YouTube. It's brilliant. I love it. All 7 minutes of it, by the way, which I was going to try and squeeze in tonight. I just didn't have the time, but we'll put it up on the page for sure. And speaking of that, so you've gotten some funding as well from the Arts Council of Northern Ireland, which is great. Do you find that's really kind of helping things along? That really does help, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it gives you the opportunity to think outside the box a little bit more, because if I hadn't got the funding, it wouldn't have occurred to me to try to make a professional video. I mean, I might have got a friend to hold a camera, but I wouldn't have been able to make a professional video. I wouldn't have got, I actually got a new computer. I'm on my tablet at the moment because I'm not at home. But when I'm at home, I got like a brand new computer desk and computer setup so that I could take part in online meetings. They've been so supportive. And I got some advice on like editing some poems that I was trying to make into a book. And I think because of that, I ended up because of that extra help, I ended up getting accepted by a publisher. So I will have a book next summer, which is very nice.
Now, this is it. And here, what wonderful timing that we're getting to this one, because I always like to get a little scoop when I'm talking to people, Elizabeth. Really important. And the first book will be published by Verve Poetry Press in 2022. Yeah. So we're talking next summer-ish.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I'm delighted for you. I really am genuinely delighted. And I think it's going to be wonderful to when it's out and you'll have it and you'll be able to hold that there in your hands and see it as a piece of work. There's nothing like it. I know myself, being a musician, when you hold that first album or CD or vinyl, it's just beautiful. It's a wonderful thing. You must be really looking forward to it.
I'm excited and also nervous because I hope people like it. I hope at least some people buy it. I hope I do Verve justice.
Yeah, no. I think it's more that you won't be doing Verve justice. They'll be doing you justice. You'll be fine. Your books will sell. They will. They'll be wonderful. They'll be wonderful. I know that you're going to do a piece as well for us live tonight, which is this, by the way, is my favorite part of Poetry Corner. Also my favorite part of the show most nights, because it's when I just get to kind of switch off and sit back in the seat here and listen, and I love it. What are you going to do for us tonight, Elizabeth?
This is a poem. I suppose I should introduce it a little bit as well.
Please do.
This is actually another poem I have about Northern Ireland. And I wrote this a couple of years ago, just to give people a little bit of a heads up.
Absolutely, yeah.
When the whole thing was happening about the Ulster rugby rape trial. And so just to give people a heads up that's what that's going to be about, and about the coverage that was getting in the papers, and the fact that so much of the court transcripts were ending up in the newspapers. So a lot of this is directly taken from transcripts.
Okay, interesting indeed. Thanks for giving us a background on it, because it's good to know. Okay, I am going to just recline here in my lovely chair, by the way, that I got a couple of months ago, which I love, and I'm going to just take it easy and let you go in your own time, Elizabeth McGowan. What is the piece called, Elizabeth?
It's called Suffdom, or Stand Up for the Ulster Men.
Excellent. In your own time, Elizabeth, when you're ready, take it away.
Stand up for the Ulster men. Stand up in court. Stand up for 8 days, detailing and detailing and detailing their triumphs, while they get half a day each in their delicacy. For their delicacy, you are a delicacy, not so gently roasted over an open fire. Liar, stand up while underwear is passed around. Yours. While they hum and ha and examine, these are a bit showy, aren't they, Jennifer? Almost as if you wanted someone to see them, Sadie. Stand up and explain VPL spoiling an outfit and dressing for yourself from the inside out. Sarah, Lynn, Sue cries, classic. Victims stand up while they debate the merits of certain bloodstains, the consistency of menstrual blood versus trauma blood, and stand up while they tell you you don't know the difference between a lot of things, all fingers and thumbs, just fingers and thumbs, no harm done. Stand up, explaining why you wanted to go to a party, why anybody wants to go to a party, why parties exist, and the evolution of humans gathering for friendship and celebration. It seems they have never heard of parties before, not met a woman who seeks out company for conversation. Stand up when they accept the party grudgingly. Yeah, there are middle-class girls were at the party, but aren't sure why you were there, as you're not middle class, aren't sure why you went into the room. The room. Stand up while there's a giggling babble from the gallery, faint sounds of popcorn munching. Stand up, check your phone, check for new messages as word gets around. This is why you don't go to court. Lie low, hide, be proud, tell the truth, just the facts, you're lying. This is why you don't report. Stand up and explain that a room can just mean a kiss. A room can often mean a kiss. In the past, a room was a kiss on its own merits. A room is not a promise, and a kiss is just a kiss. Stand up and explain you didn't know you were going into a room with a top shagger with Sumi, Paddy. You didn't know it wasn't a room but a merry-go-round. You just thought you were going into a normal room with a normal person, singular, not plural. It's hard to stand up when the whole room is spinning and you are a carousel horse, but stand up. Stand up for the Ulster women.
Wow. Very, very, very interesting take on things, Elizabeth. I have to say, very interesting take. Have you done that live? Have you done that piece live in Belfast and up north?
I have, yes, I have.
And how was it received? Because it's quite controversial, isn't it?
Poetry audiences are by and large pretty liberal audiences. So most people who spoke to me afterwards seemed to agree with me. Anyone who didn't agree didn't tell me, and that's all I know. That's all I know. I can't know about the people who don't tell me, but I think most people were possibly on. Most people I spoke to were on the girls' side of things.
Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely, and rightly so. I think it's just the controversiality of it at the time. It was quite a big thing, wasn't it? Really? Oh my God! It was huge and rocked the headlines, like down here as well, all around the world as well, because rugby is such a popular game and we all love it as well. I love the way I do love, though, more about you, to be quite honest, is how you get so much information into such a short space of time. It's unbelievable how you do it, and that's my favorite thing about what I've seen of you over the past few days when I've been researching. You just have a wonderful play on words, how you can get so much in there. And I hear everything. I hear every word. You're able to kind of roll it off. And it's quite very natural. I can see how you've won the slams. I can see now.
Thank you, dude.
Thank you so much for being on episode 30 of Friday Night Live. And thanks to Catrice, of course, as well, for curating the segment. It's been wonderful. And I've learned so much now about slams that I really have to go to one. Okay, that's it.
Oh, yeah.
So do let me know. Do let me know, Elizabeth, the next time if you're down here at the Irish Slam, the National Slam, or whenever it's coming up, let me know, and I'll do my best to kind of go and see it. I'd love to just sit back.
I may be next year. Maybe next year. Who knows?
Yeah. Keep in touch anyway. You will, of course, and let me know.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because we could go to a slam and I could sit beside you and I just pretend like I know everything about it. And if anybody asks me a question, I could say, talk to my friend Elizabeth. She'll fill you in on the score.
He knows.
Yeah, she knows. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. It's been an absolute pleasure. Where is the best place for people to get to access your poetry and spoken word works?
Probably my website, which I noticed Catrice has put up there. It's elizabethmckeown.com. But if you go on there, at the bottom of the page of the website, there's links to Twitter and Facebook as well. But yeah, Facebook is Elizabeth McKeown Writes, Speaks, Sings, but there's a link right through from the website.
Brilliant.
So
and I've seen that. I was on your website there today and yesterday, and it's very easy to navigate and everything. And yes, Catrice had the link in there, and I put it up there a few times. So all good. I'm definitely going to put Witch up on the Friday Night Live page because I think people need to see it.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. It's brilliant. It's really good. Thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your evening. You've done so well. I hope that you get lovely, nice feedback and all from. Well, you will, of course, from here. And I look forward to at some point meeting you in person, as I say to most guests. That's my favorite part. Some point next year, whenever we'll get there.
Thank you, Dave.
Okay, Elizabeth. Take care. Good night. Mind yourself. Bye. So that was Elizabeth McKeown, based in Belfast. I think she's actually over in the UK at the moment, over in England. And I've learned so much, by the way. That now I have to say, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I just love the whole world of just the spoken word performance, spoken word world. Because there's something quite. I always think of you remember that Eminem movie, when I think of the Eminem movie where he used to get on stage and they used to kind of rap against each other, and it was really intense and competitive. That's what I always think of a poetry slam or a spoken word slam, but obviously it's not that intense, but there is competition in it, but there's also exposure in it. And I think, it's kind of cool that, all of these people can get together and kind of compete, but yet all get along together. It doesn't happen that often in the music world. I look back at some of the gigs down through the years, competitions that I entered with bands, and it usually ends up quite difficult to differentiate between genuine sort of musicians competing against each other and then musicians who are just in it for the kudos of winning the competition. It doesn't seem to be that way in the poetry world and the spoken word world, which I quite like. I hope you've been with me tonight, lads, for episode 30. I have absolutely and thoroughly enjoyed it. I want to thank all my guests for being on tonight. Big Red Buffalo in Maine in the United States. Keep an eye out for the guys there, John and Dylan. They're going to be bringing out a body of work, shall we say, digital releases early next year, and it's going to be cool. Big Red Buffalo. Check them out. They're on Facebook as well, and you'll see them anyway. They've kind of hooked up with me on Friday Night Live. We'll put a link up on the page to them. Also, massive thanks to Anna O'Connor for joining me as well. I know she was quite busy today, and it was wonderful to get her on, who featured on Last Singer Standing on RT last week and did a cracking performance. And look, also, I got to plug it, her new hair salon, Arana, in Nina. Check it out. It's really cool. So she's doing loads. She's a very, very busy woman, and I was delighted to have her on. Of course, last but not least, Elizabeth McKeown, based in Belfast, on our Poetry Corner slot. And of course, I would like to thank Catrice Greer, my friend and curator, who has been curating and curates Poetry Corner over the past couple of months. It's been great having her involved. We wouldn't have all of the guests without her, and it's just fabulous to have her involved. I'm going to go out with, actually, I'm not really sure what to go out with. I was kind of thinking, what will we do here? What will we do? Because I ended up playing a nice little bit of music in the middle of the show, but I want to leave you with a little. I'm going to get away from the shameless plug thing because I don't really want to be shamelessly plugging myself too much, because I don't think that's very fair. So I'm going to leave you with my good friend who was on a couple of weeks ago, Mr. Natty Whaler, who you would know from Bob Marley and the Wailers. Great friend, has become a great friend of the show. And this is his song called Destined to Be Free. I just love Natty. So we're going to finish out Friday Night Live with a little bit of reggae tonight. Thank you all, guys. See you all next week for episode 31. By the way, it's cracking. There are some really, really good guests on next week. I've already confirmed 2 guests who you're going to love. Natty Whaler on Friday Night Live. Good night, guys. Peace out. Mind yourselves.
Traveling on this lifelong journey, with all its twists and turns. I don't know what's wrong with me, but still I keep moving on. Heading back to tomorrow. There's one thing I know for sure. I was born to be. I was born to be. For each night and heavy times, I'm from this love right here. Road of life, I'll keep searching and searching and searching and searching until I find what's in my destiny. I said I know myself, what's in home. And what's in my destiny? Destiny. I know I was there over the years and valleys, the amber roads. I know that love will guide me through the ups and downs. I don't know what tomorrow might be, but still I keep living on, heading for tomorrow. Yesterday I saw and every time I've traveled this long rocket road of life. I'll keep searching, 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 searching until I find what's in my destiny. I said I know I'm what's in my destiny. Over the hills and valleys and red roads, I know that love will guide me through the ups and downs. I don't know what tomorrow might bring, but still I keep living on, heading for tomorrow, 'cause yesterday